Welcome to B-rated, B-rated Conversations. Join us as we talk to the creative people behind the independent movies and get the behind-the-scenes stories. Thank you for being here. I'm here with Marcus Massey from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I got that right, didn't I? Okay.
2, yes,
2,
absolutely.
Yes.
That's
and the
it.
original.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, fact is that when you asked me to be here, I said, you know what? I'll be there.
And I appreciate it.
Straight away.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking to you.
Yes. And look, I have an owl t-shirt on.
I see. Which I want to jump into the Winnie the Pooh stuff. But first, I kind of want to ask a few dinosaur prison questions just to kind of
absolutely shoot. Yeah.
So like, what was the because I mean, first of all, that movie, it's like it's horror in the fact that it's scary for me. Like, and I'm thinking it's like as far as like the levels of horror, but for me, that one was just so much fun. It was like it had a bunch of stuff like the guy fighting with the fire sword and like all this stuff, and I'm like this isn't the movie I thought this was gonna be. This is amazing. Like, but it was so fun to watch.
Yes.
I just have to say.
Yes. No, that was it was marvelous, and there were certain surprises even for me. Even though I had the script and I knew what was happening, the how they were going to do, because of course you have in the script what happens. And then when it's a question of, oh, okay, we're actually going to have somebody with a fire sword. That wasn't CGI. That was genuine 100% special effects. That was people putting fire gel on the sword. This guy who used to be a Marine, and he's sort of fighting the invisible dinosaur, and all of that was. I mean, there was I mean, I wasn't there on that day because that wasn't. Well, I was there on the day, but I wasn't there shooting that scene because I'm not in that scene. But by all accounts, it I think it's the first time that this particular production company had dealt with quite as much fire all in one enclosed space, because we were actually filming it in a prison.
Okay.
It was actually a real prison, and not just any old prison either. It was, I mean, it's been decommissioned now, but the prison was commissioned in 1792.
Oh, wow.
Yes, very, very old. So where we're talking about Napoleonic era, 1792, that's when it was built. And it got decommissioned about 10 years ago. I don't remember the exact date, but it was filmed in Gloucester Prison. And so those the fabric of the building around us was ancient, and you felt the despair. I mean, prisons are obviously not meant to be pretty places, but there was this doom, this thick atmosphere of doom around there, and they've had some pretty nasty people. They've also in there. They've also had some very unfortunate people who would have. Because it was an execution prison, and in those days they used to execute people for example, stealing a leg of lamb. I think the youngest person to be executed there, and bear in mind, in those days it was public. People used to come along and make it a day out. I think he was 14, and he was executed there publicly for stealing a leg of lamb, and so. It's grim, very, very grim atmosphere in that place. Yeah. But the Yes, but the fire scene, that was real fire. That was real kerosene on the floor, and that was real fire gel on the sword as he was slashing away.
Yeah, I mean, which I think like at that point, I think I had mentioned to Brian because we were watching the movie that like
Mm.
there haven't been a ton of deaths. There's not a ton of gore in this movie. I was like, but I'm hooked. Like it's just one of those movies. Like it kind of shows that horror doesn't have to be, buckets of blood and guts. That if you can tell an interesting story with good moments, that you
Mm.
can keep people interested and hooked, and the the rest kind of just elevates things as opposed to being the draw, which I
Mm.
enjoyed that a lot about this one.
Mm.
Which you were
Yes.
great in it, Maria's
Oh,
great, and
right.
you
Oh,
guys,
thank you very much. There's a twist, of course, for people who haven't seen it. There's a twist.
which yeah, I mean, like hopefully people have listened to our episode by the time they're listening to this one.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
uh which
Yes.
that twist was, I just thought it was so good. It's like good storytelling because one of the hard things with horror is like sticking the landing and getting a
Mm.
great ending where I didn't see it coming, but like this is the ending that makes sense. And like the fact that like she comes in and she's trying to save the dinosaurs and get them out of the prison, and then at the end and you're the one saying they're dangerous, we need to keep them in, like more or less at the beginning, and then that flips and you two like switch spots, and it's like I was like, wow, that's good. That's good storytelling. That's good, like, actor portrayal.
And of course, and as with every person, not everybody is one dimension. Nobody is one dimensional. Everybody has got different layers to them, and a different the primary motivation. But then when push comes to shove, something else might come into play, and that is a real thing. Yeah, so that makes it more interesting as well. And the
Oh yeah.
dinosaurs were much better.
Yes, it was super cool. Like the dinosaurs were really good. Also, I think like it felt to me like there's no wasted characters because you have the guy that on his first day who didn't realize what he was getting into, and then you see him for like a scene and he's gone, which was really entertaining. So I like all around, I just thought like, you know, it's fun. It's like a popcorn movie.
Mm.
This isn't meant to be like, like this isn't meant to be, like the Oscar film, but this is the one that I kind of feel like most of the time we've all seen so many movies that try to be, you know, uh the greatest film ever put on screen, where a lot of the times the films we remember for forever or like a while are the ones that have the moments, and
Mm.
this had the moments.
Mm.
And like
Yes.
like so I thought that like it really what am I trying to say here, it did what exactly what it's supposed to do.
Mm. Yes, yes, I did. I do remember when we were talking. I was saying, look forward to this. This is going to be good. And I remember Maria going, "Yes, this is going to be really good." And we weren't just saying that. We knew that this was going to be the next the next step, the
Yeah,
next notch up.
it
Yes.
really is. It's super super fun. um
Mm.
which like what was your motivation for the character of the doctor?
Well, I mean, he truly believes. Well, the thing is that he believes himself to be a genius and therefore a precious gift, a jewel to the world, and and he wants to make this stance. And so, I mean, I, how how can we do that? Can we Can we do spoilers or not?
Yeah, we can do spoilers. Yeah, our
Okay.
episode has been out for
Okay.
a few months now, and it's actually one of our better listened to episodes. So,
Right. Okay. Yes. So, I mean, so he's working on this project, but he doesn't really believe in it. He has a humanity about him. So he's trying to expose it by getting these journalists in to expose it for them. Then, and that's the first little twist, because of course they think that they've been trapped, but actually then it's and then there's the one journalist who's the intelligent one, and the other one who is the dumb one. and so he wants to do that, but then again, so he wants to dedicate his life to doing good, but then the other fact is you can't do good if you're dead. So he also has this thing whereby, oh well, actually it's imperative that I remain alive, not only for humanity but also because I can't then fulfill my personal mission.
If you talk different.
And that's a weird one, actually, because that's true. I mean, you can I mean, at what point do you sacrifice yourself for your beliefs? If you feel that, oh well, yeah, but without me, then how is this going to continue? How is this journey going to continue? So and these decisions then presumably have to be done that you don't think about them beforehand, because you can't write a list of, oh, if this then that. It comes it's a split second decision on whether you're going to do the right thing in one way, or then you're going, oh, well, actually let's actually stay alive and live another day and fight another day, and that might be better. So that I thought was an interesting thing.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I did think that like your character and like Maria's character are basically like, it does feel like there is this like intentionality with everything, where like we know where we're headed and we know who's going to play the crucial roles, and like it becomes, you know, like people are getting put into their places to be on both sides of this sort of battle over like what to do about the dinosaurs in the prison, and that becomes the story. And it's like a really well told story, because it's you know, it is exactly, or the story, you know, like it tells the story it means to tell, which I enjoyed.
Good. Marvelous. Right.
Yeah, but
yes.
I mean, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I mean, like when like it's been like kind of like, you know, stuck in my head for a while, because I watched it a couple times, and like it has a depth to it.
Yes, I think we all enjoyed making that.
Yeah, I can tell.
Fantastic.
Everybody had fun.
Yes.
But moving into to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Blood and Honey 2, that's right.
I've only seen the trailer, but even from the trailer, I can just tell that the scope on this, because in the last one we're primarily the house, the woods, and basically the way in between, and that's the scope of that story, and it worked well for it. But this one, I noticed like 4 or 5 different places just from the trailer that this movie goes, and it just feels much bigger.
It is. It's a very big notch up. I mean, and to be fair, there is a lot more budget on this one due to the success of the first one, and that allows for a greater depth. The story is a lot more in depth. There is a lot more story, and there's more than one story. We've got, of course, got a I was going to say a very famous British actor, but actually he's been in several Hollywood movies too, Simon Callow.
Oh yeah,
And
that's what I thought.
so for him to be there is a massive boost, and he certainly wouldn't do it if it didn't if he didn't feel that this was worthy of his presence. So the various things which are the same, and that one thing is, of course, the initial theme, as in the first film, which is a situation where these animals, and of course this time we get more. There's Pooh Piglet, there's Tigger, and of course Owl, and so these characters have been abandoned, and so there is a betrayal. There is a frustration and a hatred because of this abandonment, the same abandonment that you have when somebody says they love you and will always look after you, and or at least always be there, and then you find that, of course, that's not happened, and you get that feeling in the gut, and there's frustration, and these animals now have to they can't even they have to survive, whereas before they used to thrive, and so they go through struggles, and this, I mean, look, that as the Owl, he's not a good-looking chap, is he?
Oh,
No,
he's terrifying.
he's terrified. But you see, that's not his fault. I mean, if once you've been through that struggle, pain, and the and that sort of tension on your head, we'd all look like that.
Oh, yeah,
And so an owl is owl in the sense that, I mean, okay, this is slightly different. In the books, Owl was very much a blowhard. I mean, he used to say that he knew a lot of things about everything, and but of course the joke was that he was talking off the top of his head. He was just making
hmm
it up all the time. That's the joke. But as we all know, and as the owls are the wise creatures, so owl is the thinker, the planner. As a bird, he doesn't have strength, and I mean he's a raptor by nature, but he is only a bird. And whereas Pooh is, of course, a big bear. And as we all know, a bear of little brain. And that being the case, Pooh is the enforcer, and Owl is the brains behind the operation.
Oh yeah. And the one of the biggest things I noticed, like I know that the thing that always gets a pass a lot of the times with indie is you have a limited budget and you only have certain places to put it. So like in the first one, it's a guy in a mask and it looks like a guy in a mask, and that's like an automatic pass because like you have to put your money in all the right places to elevate your film. And in this one, the prosthetics, just like all of that work, all of that scariness, all of that tension, it just makes it pop. Like that was the first thing I noticed, that like you can see the emotion.
Yes, it is. The people who are doing the prosthetics are absolute geniuses, and they've done a lot of work on a lot of things. They've done Harry Potter and all that, and so. I mean, I can talk about my prosthetic, of course, because I can talk from first-hand experience of that. I can't speak for the others, but it took an hour and a half to put on, and it is this very thin latex, which is essentially super glued to your face. So
Oh wow.
it moves with your face. And now I wasn't prepared for this. It's all very well saying it, and you think, okay, what's the big deal about that? Well, it is a big deal because, first of all, it takes an hour and a half to put on. And secondly, because it glues to your face and over your head, it's glued there. You're sealed in. So it starts getting warm quite quickly, and sweaty. And of course, you can't breathe through your nose because this is all sealed up as well. So if you imagine not being able to breathe through your nose, you have to breathe through your mouth. First of all, that causes a problem when you have to eat and drink, because
Yeah.
you have to, first of all, you have to drink through a straw. That's not such a big problem. I know all girls have to do that if they have lipstick, but you drink through the straw, but you can't then breathe until you've swallowed. And the same thing, if you put food in your mouth and you chew it, you can't breathe until you've swallowed it. Okay. So you've got to take little bites, swallow, and then breathe. So this, and now, for the first 3 or 4 hours, that's fine. For the next 3 or 4 hours, it gets a little uncomfortable. But when you're on about hour 12 or 13, then it's challenging. It's especially a challenging when, of course, you can't blow your nose. And bear in mind, I told you, you are perspiring. All your nose cavity starts filling up with gudge as well.
Oh, jeez.
And you had and you got to press on. What else is there to do? And so now I have got an entirely new level of appreciation for people like Michael Dorn, with Lieutenant Worf, and all the Cardassians and all of that. That's what they had to go through. And now I know what it's like. But luckily, in the method, what we do is, a situation like this takes place, and it can only be characterized as a gift. It's a gift to the actor, because let's face it, we've seen Owl. I'm not giving anything away by saying Owl is in a pretty foul mood, for most of the time. And so when you've been in this for 12, 13 hours, you're thinking, don't fight it, use it. Let that frustration come out. If you can't breathe through your nose and you're saying your lines, then just don't fight it, use it. Let it happen that way, because that's what's actually happening. And so that gives an extra edge to Owl.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Which okay, I was gonna ask, well, I was gonna like what other kind of what am I trying to say here? Like, what other things can we expect to because I know the budget is significantly larger. Where how does that reflect on the movie in other ways?
Well, of course, we've already talked about the special effects being terrific, the different prosthetics, and by the way, those prosthetics, because they are made of thin latex, and for all the characters wearing them, they're one use. So if you're on set for several days, 15 days, then when they have to make 15 of them, and because when you peel them off, then they sag and stretch, and so yes, so of course there is a significant budget required just for that, but also we are going to see a lot of different, very, very interesting and terrific locations in this next one as well, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Uh, there's a bit of CGI, which you will enjoy. There's certain things which obviously you can't do,
Yeah.
with sort of killing people in different ways. Uh, right? I mean, obviously. So, but there is, yeah, there's a lot of blood and guts as well. This is definitely not a children's film, and as the last one, and also the other, this film, I have to say, is much darker.
Okay. Which I mean, I don't know how
And
you do that because the first one was pretty dark.
well, I mean, okay, there was a lot of violence, yes, but as you say, it was always a sort of man in the mask, and there were moments when you almost felt that there was a comic element.
Okay. Yeah. I see that. I see that.
Yeah, where you can go, oh, but at the same time you can giggle at it. But yes, none of that here. This is dark. You see, when this is another thing. I mean, I think Owl speaks not just for all humans, but also all animals. You see, when humans do what they always do, and they say, what we're going to do is we are going to move into your territory, and we're going to chop down the forest, and we're going to start building, and we're going to move in, then you have to ask yourself who lives there already. Well, all the animals, and so what do the animals do? They're wild animals. They kind of run out, and what do humans do? They think, oh dear, wild animals. Well, we better shoot them. We better get rid of them because we can't have wild animals where we live, and uh, and this is something which all wild animals at the moment in the world face this threat because they haven't got anywhere to live. And when they protest, when they try and fight back, then they get eliminated for their trouble because why are you fighting back?
Okay.
Uh, we humans have the right to do whatever we like, and this is so Owl speaks. These are all sorts of reasons why Owl is angry. Owl is speaking for all animals of the world.
Which I
You
mean,
know,
I appreciate that like this is kind of taking a kind of like an almost like a Pennywise versus Art the Clown approach to Owl, where it's very like because I read that like Damien Leone just basically took everything about Pennywise and just did the opposite. And this is kind of the kind of like it feels to me the same thing where like instead of being the voice of reason like he was a lot of the times in the cartoon that I remember, he's the voice of vengeance, which is like almost completely opposed to reason because it goes outside of our human instincts, which I think that's really cool.
yes, but I think it goes further because I want you to watch Owl and I want you to feel, you know what? He's going about this in a really kind of funny way, but you know what? He's right. He's right. Yeah, we don't. It, 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 you are part of nature. It's not that you should control nature.
Yes.
And so yes, it's important. To play the character, you have to believe in the character's motivations and train of thought, because otherwise you're being disingenuous, and and you suddenly realize that it's not so crazy. This is absolutely the way people should be thinking about how they behave in the world. What is their attitude towards other people and the animals and the planet and what they see as the future and how they want themselves to live and how they want the future to be. Because we all leave a legacy, and you might go, well, it's not my fault because I'm just one person, but you go along with it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like one of those things that, like not to get political or anything, but it's like
Yeah,
you always hear people, and I this is, probably, very similar where you're from, where like there's the person you want to vote for, and then there's the person you vote for because if I vote the other way, it doesn't matter because I'm going to be wasting my vote. And like, but if everybody thought that way, we'd always get the person we don't want, or we'd always do the thing we didn't want to do, like as far as decisions go.
Yes. And then again, that's another thing, because then it's like, who's making decisions, and then it's like, well, who wants to see? This is the problem. The person who wants to be king is probably not the right person to do the job. Okay.
Well,
now, I'm
I
not
kind
the
of feel
first
like
person to say this, obviously. And in fact, I think it was it Mark Twain, or it could have been, or the other chap. So this is not an original thought, but it's important to bear that in mind. I mean, you might. I don't know how you get around that, because, of course, if you're going to progress in politics, you need to want to progress.
Yeah.
So this is this is another one.
Yeah.
Be sorted out by
like so about the movie, like we've seen you in a Christmas tree, we've seen you in the latex.
Yes.
And you said the latex is very hot. Like, which one would you prefer? Like, which one's more comfortable?
I think you see, I mean, the Christmas tree film, which was really obviously very comedic.
Yes.
But of course, Clayton Slater, who is the Christmas tree. I mean, of course, he does have a motivation. It's all comic, though. I mean, the thing is, he's trying to take revenge for. I mean, okay. So his original motivation is, of course, that, the problem with rich people is they don't give enough for Christmas. So my solution to that is I'm going to go on this murderous escapade every Christmas in order to rid the world of at least a few rich people. Okay. So, I mean, it is obviously absurd. And then, of course, then he gets turned into a Christmas tree and then decides to continue this mission. Right. So, I mean, it's fine. You work with it.
Yeah.
But it is obviously comic. Owl, however, I think because there's a depth here, and then it's like, argue with me as Owl. I mean, with my mask on, and I'm putting my credo to the audience, and then it's right. Okay. Right. So so first of all, I want people to think, I feel that way sometimes. I've been in that situation. And also it's like kind of, you know what, this sort of situation is obviously not acceptable. So what is then the solution? And that is a situation with a great deal more depth.
Definitely.
So it's definitely Owl.
Okay.
I feel like I am actually half owl. Yes. Sort of preparing for the part, you have conversations with Owl, and then you try and put counter arguments, because when you're playing the character, you want to have this conviction in yourself.
Definitely. Like what I think the biggest, because we just had a conversation about another movie where they spent a lot of money and got very little done, and I think that was the bulk of our conversation. Which I did. The movie was Scream Park. Um, the best compliment I can give like you guys as a collective, the whole like Scott, Reese, Maria, everybody, just like the whole collective is with the first movie. I know people kind of, talk about how, oh, like I didn't like this and I didn't like this and I didn't like this, but it's like what I look for is you might not have the budget, but are you giving me a story? Are you giving me moments? Are you giving me good gore? Are you using things in the right places where they make sense? And like you guys did all that. And it's like you're turning a little into a lot instead of turning a lot into a little.
Yes.
Which is very easy to do.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, it is. And that was made on a tight budget. It wasn't originally made for cinema, in actual fact. And then and I mean, people did say, "Oh, right, well," but the thing is that you have to judge it on its own merit. You can't compare it to the Shawshank Redemption or 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 On the Waterfront. I mean, the people who do that are being absurd.
Absolutely.
You have to judge it on what it is and who it's for, and it's not for uh, uh, professors and intellectuals uh, sitting in their university seats. So don't judge it that way. Only a fool would judge it like that.
Oh yeah, but I did think there was sort of an intellectual depth to it in the fact that it does the original questions how far are you willing to watch this, because we're going to push past the comfortable and the uncomfortable into the why am I still watching this scene. And like my hope for the second one is that's not lost, that this is the horror that makes you feel like uncomfortable in your skin.
Yeah. Every ante has been upped.
Nice.
Yes. on this. And hopefully there's going to be some glorious, outrageous moments.
Yeah, I am excited because it's like I kind of feel the same way I felt going into Terrifier 2. Like how are you going to top this? Like what? Like I don't know what you're going to do here, but I know that the right minds are behind it. That like the other thing that I kind of noticed in the trailer that I kind of hope gets addressed a little bit is in the first movie, Christopher Robin sort of runs away from the conflict or tries to pacify the conflict. And just reading the synopsis and just watching the trailer, kind of, I get the sense that we're not headed in that direction again, that he's going to move forward. He's going to push into it a little bit.
Without a doubt. There's several strands to the story, and Christopher Robin is entangled in the whole thing. Yes.
Yeah,
so
super excited for that.
A lot. They would be seeing a lot of what happens there. Yes, I'm being very careful.
Of course,
just tiptoe on the top.
Yeah, of course. I don't want you to reveal too much.
Yes, of course. But it's not. Yes, but it's not giving anything away to say that Christopher Robin is integral to the story. I can say that
definitely,
and so yes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I haven't even seen it yet.
You haven't?
I only know what happens, and well, I've seen parts, but of course I haven't seen it. First time I'm going to see it is in the premiere, which is on the 11th of March in London, but it's only a premiere for the press and so forth. In the US, this very day, 1st of March, is the tickets go on sale because it's going to be all over the US for 3 days later in March.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the premiere date here is March 26th,
Yes, I think
which
it's 26th,
I'm
27th, and 28th. Yes.
the second I get a chance, I'm gonna watch it because like this is one like it goes on like my mental list of movies that like, oh, when that comes out, I gotta see this, I gotta see this, I gotta see this kind of thing. Which one of the funny things, what was it? Reese posted about kind of a side point, but the what was it? The day that Steamboat Willie became public domain, there were 4 movies announced for Steamboat Willie, including two of the our friends on the that we've talked to. Simon Phillips is involved in one, and so is Stephen Lamorte is working on one as well, with Terrifier 2 people. And I like the day he posted that, I sent a message to Reese. I was like, you created a monster. Like now everybody just wants to do it, like because they see there's value in it.
Mm, mm. And the thing is that actually, Scott and Reese have been doing this for a long. It wasn't a flash in the pan. It wasn't. They'd made numerous films. They'd made nearly 100 films before this, before Pooh 1 came out, and so this mindset, this plan wasn't just created out of nothing. It was created over years of toil and work, and getting into how do we make the next one better? How do we get how do we play with the tension? How do we give the moments? And that mindset has taken years to develop.
I can see that definitely, because I mean, we've watched like a few movies where it's like it's a great premise, it's a good setup, it's very technically well done, but it's just I don't have moments. Like there's nothing, there's no stick, there's nothing there for me to like to really dig in on. Like
and
it's
then
like
because
yeah, sorry, go
because
ahead.
the budget is so is so minimal for many of those films, it you can't take an easy way out and say, "All right, we'll just pay for that. We'll pay for that." You need to think of a good idea to get around it. You're forced to. And yeah, so it's enforced. What's the word I'm trying to find? Creativity. Yeah, you can't just throw money at it because there is no money.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the
Yeah.
things, like way back, we talked to Dave Sheridan, and he mentioned it's like on a lot of these movies, you're very low budget, and like the strength of horror comedy is the ad lib, is the is the comedic moments, because it kind of helps, the breathing or the breath of the movie to get you calm and nice, and then we can bring you back into the next part where we're going to scare the crap out of you, and you don't feel like you're on a 10 the entire movie. And I think like just you guys are just so good at that, where these movies are enjoyable, they're watchable, where everything is just, I just anticipate watching all of them.
Fantastic. Great. Okay. I don't know whether there's anything else I can say.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We can go into our final questions.
Hmm.
So is there like if you don't have anything, that's fine. But is there any movies you could suggest to us for future watches?
Well, there are a few things on the table, but until it's all signed, then it's not really on the table. Let's just hope for it. Bizarrely, I am in a Dutch film, which I filmed in Crete in September, and my bits are in English, but it's actually a Dutch film for Holland, and so that's coming out in the next few. But of course, I mean, I know what happens in it, and I know what happens in my scene, but of course, I can't speak or understand Dutch, so I mean, it's a sort of coming of age film with a lot of Dutch people who go to Crete on holiday and then get into trouble because they are 18-year-old boys, frankly, and they get into situations which they shouldn't really get into, but they do because they're 18-year-old boys, and then situations then get worse for them, and it's a comedy, and I'm looking forward to that. That will be fun. So that's coming out soon, and there's I'm sure this is not going to be the last Pooh film.
I am ready for more. I am 100% ready for more.
I mean, I'm sure that there will be more. So you can't just do two, can you?
No. No, I mean, and I saw that like this is kind of the spawning of a larger kind of like I don't know the best way to put it, but like a universe of different characters.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what emerges, what fruitful ideas emerge from the crazy desk of the Jagged Edge ideas factory.
It's a great idea factory. It's definitely amazing. If anybody was looking to find you on social media or wherever, how can they find you, or where can they find you?
I think on Instagram it is the Marcus Massey, TheMarcusMassey, the Marcus Massey, and and I think from there, I think there are links to everywhere else, so you can use that as a hub.
All right.
Yes.
But thank you for talking to me.
It's absolutely pleasure. It's the pleasure. This is the third time, and I love it every time.
We're gonna have to make it 4.
And absolutely, and then hopefully some of my friends can come on too next time, and we can make it a party.
Yes.
Yes, I should do it. Actually, that's the point. I should have brought I should have had some beer with me. Oh. Yes. Yes. I should have had some beer. Mental note. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, next time.
Brilliant.
All right.
Thank you so much. It's been terrific.
Thank you. Yes.
I mean, I would say it was nice to meet you, but but yes. Well, there we go. You see, I told you I was half owl. So there we go. So carry on pressing on and don't throw in the towel. Yes.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. This podcast is available on all major podcast networks and YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, please follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.